Hi, it's Iris. Today I'm doing a soft, cool tone berry glam that I've been reaching for a lot this winter. It's simple, soft, and just really easy to wear. I start by prepping my skin with ingredients lotion. I massage it into the skin until it fully absorbs. This helps soften the skin and gives me a smoother base for makeup. Before moving on, I apply Vaseline lip balm and let it sit while I do the rest of my makeup. For foundation, I use VDL foundation in Aero 1, a light apricot toned shade. It offers medium coverage and wears well throughout the day without oxidizing much. I pump a tiny amount onto my hand, then use a flat foundation brush to apply a thin layer all over my face. I'm not trying to build heavy coverage here, just to even out the skin. Then I blend everything out with a sponge that's been sprayed with Dalba Spray Serum. I really like the VDL cushion, so I bought the foundation. So far, I like it, but it does run a little dry, so using a misted sponge helps it melt into the skin better. Next, I go in with Tia Fit Concealer in 01. I'm going to warm the concealer with my finger first to soften the texture and use the middle shade to cover under eye darkness, fine lines, and any blemishes. This concealer has 3 shades from light to dark, which makes it really convenient for travel. I can use it as a concealer, a subtle highlighter, and even a soft contour, so it's basically an all-in-one product for me. I apply it with my finger first, then use a dense flat brush to blend everything out evenly. This step takes a bit of time, but the more you tap it in, the more natural the finish looks. I haven't been sleeping well lately because my baby is teething, so I'm extra careful here to really cover my under-eye bags. After that, I use T-Fit Corrector in Bezo 1, activated the same way. I use the pink shade under the eyes to brighten the area and blend this completely with my fingers for the most seamless finish. This corrector is from the same brand as the concealer I used earlier. It's very smooth and easy to work with. I mainly use the purple shade to create a cool tone canvas for cooler makeup looks. I haven't tried the clear white shade yet, but maybe next time. Then I take the purple shade and apply it to my cheeks using a dense round brush. This step is really important. The purple corrector cancels out yellow tones, which helps pink blush and berry eyeshadows stay cool-toned longer. I also apply a little to my eyelids, then use a small, dense brush to blend it out evenly. Without it, everything starts turning peachy instead of staying pink after a while. For eyeshadow, I'm using the Dasique Berry Smoothie palette, which I recently picked up from Olive Young in Korea. It has a lot of shades and textures, so it's great for travel. First, I take the light pink shade, top row, second from the right, and apply it all over the lid as a base. Then blend it out gently. Now apply some on the lower lash line as well. With a smaller brush, I use the Matte Light Lilac shade, second row, fourth from the right, in the crease, and blending inward with small circular motions. The color is really pretty, but it needs to be built up a little. It feels very light and smooth. I also blend it along the lower lash line. To add more dimension to the eyes, I take a clean brush and apply the deep matte berry shade, bottom row, third from the right, into the crease. I slowly blend it upward above the crease for a soft gradient, then focus the color on the outer V and lightly bring it toward the center of the lids to create depth without making the look too heavy. Again, don't forget to blend softly along the lower lash line. Lastly, to add a bit of shine, I use the third color on the top right, a soft shimmer with a rich raspberry pink and soft mauve tone. I pick up the product with my fingertips, apply it directly onto my eyelids, and gently tap it in for a wet, luminous finish. It's so shiny that you can notice it even without a flashlight. Personally, I think using your fingers is the best way to apply glitter. Next, I use the first shade from the bottom right with a small flat brush to create a subtle fake under-eye bag effect. This helps make the eyes look bigger and more open. Let me know if you want a detailed video just on this. I also use the same shade on the lower lash line, then lightly smudge the outer third downward and outward. It's really difficult to get this color to show on my skin. I enjoy the glitter shades in this palette, but I'm not a big fan of the matte ones. I'm switching to a different brush now because my under-eye area feels a bit raw. It's a tiny bit better, but still not quite there. Honestly, I love the colors of the matte shades, but they are a little hard to work with. They're not very pigmented, even though there's no fallout. I might try spraying my brush with a setting spray next time. To finish the eyes, I apply the pale pink shimmer, top right, to the inner corners and eye puff area for that bright, youthful K-beauty smiling eye look. You can also choose a more glittery or shimmery shade instead of this one. I just want something subtle for an everyday look, so I didn't go too dramatic with this step. I draw a soft wing along my lash line using L'Oreal Brown eyeliner, keeping it thin and slightly lifted. I prefer an eyeliner with a thinner tip than this one, so I'll keep an eye out for a new one the next time I shop. I also add a bit of definition along the lower lash line. This works much better than the brown shadow I used earlier. For brows, I brush them through first, then use the brown shade from the bottom right of the palette to lightly fill them in. This color works a little better on my brows than on my lower lash line. I finish with the Excel Brow product in Elsie's 01, which I randomly picked up at a Watson's, kind of like a Walgreens in Taipei, and I ended up really loving it. There are a lot of products out there, but you don't always need something specific. Sometimes you can just get creative and use what you already have. Like this mascara, it's made for lashes, but it works really well on my brows too. Moving on to lashes, I first curl them using a Tweezerman lash curler. Next, I apply a few coats of mascara first, then carefully go back in to separate each lash and work slowly. It takes a bit longer, but the lashes look longer and more defined instead of clumpy. I do the same on the lower lashes. To define the wings a bit more, I use Kiss Me Heroine Make Liquid Eyeliner Rich Keep in 03, light brown. Then I use a Q-tip and a little lotion to clean up any excess and sharpen the wingtip. Then touch up the area with the light pink eyeshadow from earlier. For contour, I use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Stick in Fawn, a light neutral shade with a really smooth, blendable texture. I place it under my cheekbones, along my jawline, and around my forehead. Then, I blend everything out with a dense angled brush and brushing upward. I love applying contour because it adds depth and definition to my face while subtly slimming it. We usually use a neutral, cooler tone shade for this, which suits my skin especially well in the winter. I haven't heard much about ABH lately. Their eyeshadow palettes and brow pencils were very popular a few years ago, but newer brands seem to be taking the spotlight now. I still love most of their products, though. I contour my nose by placing 2 thin lines along the sides of the bridge and a small U shape at the tip, then softly blending everything out with a small dense brush for a natural youthful look. I've always found nose contour interesting because it's such a subtle detail, but it really changes how everything comes together. For blush, I start with Clio Essential Blush Tap in Chiffon Pink as a base. I gently apply it over the cheeks and blend it out to create a cool base, so the main blush stays true to its shade. From there, I apply 2 faced candy clouds to the highest point of the cheeks and blend it laterally and upward. I love the blurred finish and how pigmented it is. It's a soft, cool cotton candy pink that adds a fresh pop of color without feeling heavy. To maintain a lifted look and prevent the cheeks from looking too flushed, I use the pink corrector from earlier and a red chamber finger sponge to clean up the inner cheek area. I know a lot of you usually use a lighter liquid concealer at this stage, and that's totally fine too. However, if you have a lighter skin tone, try using a pink concealer next time. It can work even better. From there, I highlight with a Tude Shooting Beam in 02 Pink Heart Jewel using a small fan brush. I apply it to the highest point of the cheek and softly blend it laterally along the light-catching area. Then I move to the nose tip, the upper third of the nose bridge, the brow bones, the cupid's bow, and the chin. After that, I use Revlon Super Lustrous Lipstick in 764 on the Mauve to soften the berry tones. This Revlon line has a beautiful texture and a really flattering finish. The shade is a cool-toned mauve that's perfect for everyday makeup or a natural no-makeup look. I lightly diffuse the cupid's bow with a small brush to give the lips a fuller look. I use ColourPop Lippy Pencil in Good and Plenty to refine the edges, correct any unevenness, and add a bit of extra depth to the lips, then go in with a concealer brush to clean up smudging around the lips and chin. To finish the look, I set everything with the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. It gives a nice dewy finish and helps my makeup stay on longer. And that's the finished Soft Berry Glam look.